Hey folks, welcome to our first leadership lessons from Ted Lasso of 2025. Hope you're having a great start to the new year. We are on season 1, episode 7, called Make Rebecca Great Again. And this episode is all about sharing our vulnerabilities. And the leadership lesson here is you need to be vulnerable with your team. So in this episode, Ted opens up about the challenges he's facing in his personal life, and Rebecca really starts to let her guard down, sharing her own insecurities and her struggles, because we all have them. And I think for anyone who's watched it, you'll know Rebecca comes across as somebody who is incredibly confident and doesn't really share those vulnerabilities much at the start. And it's really nice episode, actually, to see those walls start to come down and really build that relationship. So why is it so important? I think as leaders, it's really easy to think we have to have all the answers and that we've constantly got to be projecting confidence and I know it all. But the truth is, as this episode shows us, that the real connections are built when we let people see our authentic selves, and that means our flaws and all. So one of the key messages I hope you take from this is that vulnerability is not a weakness. It's actually one of the greatest strengths a leader can have. So I've already touched on this, but why is vulnerability so powerful? Well, it's the moments that create trust. When we show we're human, whether that's admitting a mistake we've made, asking for help, or sharing something personal, it makes us far more relatable and approachable. And when people trust you, you'll find that they are much more open with you in return. They will most likely be far more engaged and invested in the team's success, especially if they've had part in helping move that forward. So if you take a minute to think about a leader who's inspired you during your career, chances are they weren't perfect all the time. Maybe they admitted when they didn't have the answers, or shared how they'd overcome a tough challenge, or held their hands up when they made a mistake. They're the moments that stick with us because they remind us that we're all human and it's okay to be real. So how can you bring vulnerability into how you're working with your team? So the first is to admit when you don't know something. It's okay to say I don't know, but let's figure it out together. So being honest that you don't have all the answers, but then action focused on how can we collectively work through this. And again, a great opportunity to leverage the skills within your team and lean into the power of the collective. So again, shows humility but invites that collaboration as well. Number 2, share a personal story. Let your team in on a moment when you faced a challenge or made a mistake, but also key what you learned from it. So again, show that humility, but show the action that you took. How did you learn from that? How have you changed how you do things? And how is that helping you move forward? It shows them that, everyone gets things wrong, but it's what you do with it that matters. Number 3 would be asking for feedback and be open to it. So invite your team to share that honest feedback with you on your leadership style or how you make decisions, or anything about how you're working with them, and show that you're open to learning and improving for the greater good of the team. But also be able to articulate why you do things a certain way if you still feel confident that that is the right thing. Number 4 is be honest about your emotions, but within reason. So I think it's really okay to say that you're feeling a certain way, whether that's really excited or uncertain or even a bit stressed, because that humanizes you and it shows you're in it with other people if they are feeling that way too. But you need to balance that with professionalism. And for me, that is about then what are you going to do about it? So it's okay to acknowledge that feeling, but then work with your team on the action you need to take to move things forward. So my challenge to you as you head into next week is to find one way to show vulnerability within your team. And that might be sharing a personal story, admitting a mistake, or asking for feedback, and see how your team responds to letting them see more of the real side of you. If you're comfortable, as always, I'd love to hear about your experiences and how that has made an impact on your team. And let's remember, as we head into the new week, that leadership isn't about being perfect. It's about being real. And that actually by showing vulnerability, you're creating an environment where trust and connection can thrive. When your team sees that you're willing to be open, they'll feel empowered to do the same. So thanks for tuning in. Look forward to connecting again next week. Until then, stay authentic, stay open, and keep leading with heart. Have a great week.